Welcome. In this video, we'll be taking a look at how to write a compound inequality. So to begin, there are some key words that you need to be aware of. The first is that we have more math symbols to introduce. So if I want to indicate less than, in English, you'll see the words is less than. And what that indicates is that we're using this symbol. If you see the English words is less than or equal to, then that corresponds with this mathematical symbol. Okay, on the other side, to indicate greater than, you'll see either the words is greater than, which indicates this symbol, or if you see the words is greater than or equal to, that will correspond with this mathematical symbol. Okay, so we use these inequalities when two sides are not equal to one another. So in other words, going back to the idea of an equation is one where we have equality. So you have a left side with stuff and a right side with stuff. And that stuff is perfectly balanced out as it would be on a perfectly balanced seesaw. An inequality is not perfectly balanced. One side is going to have more value than the other side. So it's like a seesaw that's off balance. And whether the left side or the right side has more value is going to determine which of these symbols you're actually using. So let's take a look at how you might translate sentences into inequalities. So let's take a look at number one. Number one says 7 is less than y and y is less than or equal to 8. So because I see the words is less than, I know that corresponds with this symbol. Okay, 7 is 7 and y is y, so we're left with that. Then I have the word and in the middle. And then over here, I've got y is less than or equal to 8. Well, is less than or equal to is another key word, which means this symbol. And then I've got y, and I've got 8. So this is definitely an acceptable answer. But notice there's actually a shorter way that we could write this, because what this tells me is that y has to be both greater than 7 and less than or equal to 8 at the same time. What that means is y must be between 7 and 8. So a way to write that in a shorter form is that if 7 and 8 are my two endpoints, then I know that y must be between them. And specifically, y must be less than or equal to 8, but it has to be bigger than 7. So either one of these two ways would be an acceptable answer. Okay, I want you to try number 2, pause the video, and then restart it after you've given it a try. Okay, so for number 2, in the first part of the sentence, it says 8 is greater than C. Well, is greater than should have meant that you had 8 and then this symbol and then C. The second part, well, we have the word and in the middle, which is very important. And then the second part says C is greater than or equal to 7. So is greater than or equal to is this symbol. And we've got C on one side, and we've got 7 on the other. So this is definitely an acceptable answer, but the question is, can I write it in shorter form? Well, what this tells me is that C must be greater than or equal to 7. What this guy tells me is that C has to be less than 8. So if I put those two ideas together, then that tells me again C must be between 7 and 8. And specifically, it has to be greater than or equal to 7, but it must be strictly less than 8. So either one of these two forms would be an acceptable answer.